those of you who've been here before, you know who I am. We gather together once a week for about half an hour now, essentially to answer your questions and make sure that you're making the most out of Positive Prime. And I can see beautiful Edwina is here again. Hello, my dear. I can see Alan's here. Hello, Alan. I can see Zeddy's here. I'm glad that you're here. Mary Lee, I'm glad that you're here. There's somebody else new. And so this is essentially how we operate. It's a bit like Dear Kim. This is the situation I'm dealing with. What would your advice or your suggestion? And what actually happens is that I really am connected to the core of Mother Earth, and for me it's divine inspiration. And so a lot of the work that I do around coaching and mentoring and consulting has a very spiritual aspect to it, an energy healing in and of and by itself. And so what I usually do is I suggest the best session that will actually satisfy you. And do you know what the funny thing is that I was just on a previous conversation and we were talking about Jack Canfield's The Success Principles. So this session is actually a summary of his book. It's the essences of the key messages brought to life and put inside the formula that is a Positive Prime session. And we were able to prove that the formula enhances the way that you actually comprehend a message and the way that it actually resonates within you and that you can recall that message. And we've done some actual scientific studies around that. Super exciting. So as a coach, I'm not sure whether you've ever been to see a coach or not. So there's a whole group of interesting people in the audience. Often we're told something and then we don't follow through. And we wonder why. Why don't we do that which we now know? And one of the objectives of Positive Prime is to actually have, it's almost like your operating system that allows you to organically and naturally and very subtly do the things that you know because you've received these messages through a Positive Prime session in pre-conscious processing. So what do I mean by that? And I'm just going to, I'm going to actually get that started again. So I'm going to go to the chat while we're talking, and I'm going to see, I'm basically going to see if I can explain to you what's going on here. Bear with me. So when you view a Positive Prime session, I'll just use this go full screen module. If I love this session, which by the way I do, I could heart it. And if I heart it, it means it'll go over and appear in my sessions. I can also unheart it. If I've got a very short period of time, I can actually do this. This depends upon your internet speed. So maybe you don't already know this, but we actually have an aspect to our software that reads the viewer. In this case, it's my internet connection with my own Wi-Fi device, but much more importantly, the internet connection between my house and actually my provider, and then also the internet connection that is related to the servers. In this case, it's Amazon Web Services that delivers a Positive Prime session. And so sometimes if I go a little too fast and my internet connection is actually slow, or there's a bottleneck, or there's a storm in the area or whatever, what could happen is that a little turtle will appear. We call her or him Poppy. And that actually means that the Positive Prime session is throttling. It's actually literally slowing down, and you'll see that the time jumps. But as you can see, my internet speed is really fantastic at the moment, which is actually really rare because I live in a rural area. So let me go back to what happens with the way that Positive Prime sessions content goes into this part of you that is really driving you. So when you are viewing a session and you're not criticizing or commenting or having a dialogue, you just saw I'm willing to put in the time. Well, if you've got a bias, a limiting beliefs and conditioning around the fact that it's never worth it, you put in so much time and you don't get a return, what happens is your brain argues with that. But if you see the next one that says, I go the extra mile, if you're watching this, you just saw that happened pretty quickly. What's happening is your limiting beliefs are almost being interrupted and overwritten by new statements, right? And so when that happens, you're actually literally switching and you're creating new neural connections between time and another message. And so that connection starts to build new bridges for you that gives you greater resilience and a repertoire around being more resourceful. Does that make sense? So a lot of people don't know that viewing a positive prime session and not being able to read all the statements is actually key to it working for you. And those of us who are control freaks, I say those of us because I can say that I'm an almost recovered control freak addict. We sometimes have a great deal of difficulty in surrendering and letting go. And we don't let the messages just flow through us and past us and around us. We want to catch them all. And then we actually want to see if we agree with that. Right? And then we actually come up with all sorts of reasons to either justify whether that's right or wrong based upon our paradigms and based upon our goals. And so what I would say in the positive prime journey, one, get really super clear about your goals, really super clear about your goals. And sometimes the easiest way to get clear about your goals is actually to think about what it is that you don't want. Right. And then actually just write down the opposite of that. So I don't want to spend all my nights working. What do you want then? One of your goals is to be as efficient and as effective as you can be within normal working hours. Right? Or if you're a night owl, it could be that you actually get an enormous amount of work done in a compressed amount of time between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. Whatever is going to work for you based upon who you are, your talents, your gifts, your skills, your personality, your character. But get clear about what it is that you want. And then you'll actually find that the more positive prime sessions you work with, the more you're actually going to introduce these new thoughts and ideas. And that's going to help your mind to play with the what ifs. And I'm sure you've all heard these kinds of things in spiritual circles. It's the what would it take for me to be truly grateful right here and right now? And your brain cannot help itself. It goes off in search of the answers to support the presupposition of the question. And so what I would say is if you want to write yourself some questions, be very, very clever at the way you review those questions so it becomes the self-fulfilling prophecy. So it's like, what would it take for me to actually be really comfortable right now? What would it take for me to actually be really excited right now? What would it take for me to actually realize that great people surround me right now? What would it take for me to be more playful? What would it take for me to have more fun? You get the drift? I actually just was benefiting from Alan writing in the chat. It does help to keep things lighthearted, playful, joyful, cheerful, and fun. Alrighty. I literally watched, in fact, I can even prove it to you. Let's go back here. I watched a lot of sessions yesterday. Let's go to my dashboard. I feel great. So can you see how many sessions I watched? Just say 7. Right? And all I did was I clicked one and I started to play the session. And because I understand the science behind the sessions, I was very comfortable with speeding up to the maximum speed, taking a nice big deep breath and watching it and allowing it just to permeate. Just allow me to swim in the messages, in the intention of the messages, in the vibrancy of the images. I trust the formula because, of course, I know the formula, but you can too. So let me give you the link so that you can dive deeper into how do these positive prime sessions work. Okay. Just breathe it in, allow it to flow, absorb it, allow it in, appreciate it. Some of us don't even need to know how something works. We can just have faith that it does work. The best thing about those of us behind the scenes at Positive Prime is we're doing some really fascinating scientific research right now with the University of Technology, Sydney, actually proving why and how it works. It's so wonderful. Can't wait till I can share more publicly. Alrighty, so I literally watched yesterday 7 sessions back to back, each of them 3 minutes. It only took me 20 minutes. But it was almost like I was bathing in the deep end of goodness and wholesomeness and inspiration. And I was being guided by other really amazing, sage, wise contributors to the Positive Prime platform. Patty Crummer, you have a session. I would love it if you came on out and told everybody a little bit about you. And then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to get your session up, hey? And we'll actually show it in the background. Are you okay with that?
Absolutely.
You weren't expecting it.
Amazing.
You're here.
I was just talking about the one that you were playing, thinking, wow, I haven't watched that one in a while. This is such a captivating program. But I also love my own. So thank you, Kim. So my session is called the Mosaic Effect. And you may not guess what that is by the name, but it basically talks about your gifts and talents. Everyone has a unique power and a unique set of gifts and talents that they bring to the world. And if you think of yourself like a mosaic of complementary skills and abilities and experiences and values and well-being, etc., the more that you capitalize on that, the more that you can actually do your thing in the world and bring the peace that only you can bring. And I call that the Mosaic Effect. So my session is meant to be one that expands you and all the possibilities that you can find for your life. And obviously all Positive Prime sessions are very uplifting. Mine focuses a lot on global images and people doing things that express who they are. So that's my session and myself in a quick minute.
Awesome, Patty. For those who don't know you, can you please help everybody to it's almost like embrace you, that they know more about why is this actually important to you? Like, what led you here?
Kim, thank you for asking that. I have been one of these people, my whole life, who fits this positivity mindset. And I just believe that everybody has so much to offer and everybody has so much to bring. And I think that we live in the shadows. I've certainly lived in shadows in my own life, even if this is one of my mantras for living. So I just love people. I love understanding how people tick and just appreciating the greatness in each one of us. And I've just always been that way, just curious about, who you really are, who I am really, and how we can make our impact. So it just sort of has come through me as something that is very meaningful to me. And I love talking about it, and I love discovering you, and I want to make sure that you discover yourself and bring that to the world as well. So not to miss.
I love that, Patty. And I think it's very important that we focus on our gifts, our talents, our strengths, the treasure that we have to offer humanity in contributing to making the world a much better and brighter place. Your session is actually one that I think leaves people with a certain something. How would you define that certain something?
What is that certain something? You know, I'm watching my own session, which I watch fairly often, and I'm feeling pretty good about this because I'm liking it and I've seen it, you know, hundreds of times. Um, I do really believe that also, in addition to you creating your mosaic effect and me creating mine, we are all one. We are all in this together. And it's really important to me that that in some way this session helps you to feel that goodness throughout each one of us, whether we're the same, which we never are, or different, which we always are. And when I watch this session, that I hope that that helps you to feel that same thing, that we are a common humanity. And my mosaic effect is a part of yours, and my mosaic is a part of yours and everybody else's, and on this common time on earth. And how could we really make it better because we bring the best of who we are? It's so idealistic, but that's the way I am.
Hey, Patty, I would love for you to explain to everybody what the importance is of seeing your name and also of uploading photographs of yourself into a session.
Oh, happy to do that. So when you see your name, obviously you're watching this session and my name is showing up, but when you see your name, there is a catching of yourself in this place of, that's me. I can relate, even if I don't realize it, to what's going on this screen a little bit more. So my name draws me in. My name holds me in the attention and the energy of these images and statements that are rolling around in and amongst my name that shows up. And the more that you personalize, the more the power of that is for you to be drawn into these experiences and to make connections between you and your life and the people you love and the dreams and goals you have, and the amazing statements that are also coming up at the same time that you can identify with. So you take the power and the essence of a session that is done in a very scientific way, and then you take the power and essence of you and personalize as many sessions as you can. And when you watch them, you will feel that your energy and your enthusiasm and your possibilities to experience and to do and to co-create what is appearing on the screen becomes even more powerful. So that's personalizing as just so fun. Speaking to Alan's idea of it being not only fun to watch fast, it's really fun to see yourself and to see your dreams and your favorite statements also commingled with all of these other amazing images. Imagine if those right now were your favorite people and you were on a weekend with your girlfriends, or you had done something like this and you remembered it when you saw that image. Imagine the magnetic feeling that you would have, even more than how great this already is. So I hope that answered your question on both counts.
It certainly does. Patty, whilst you've got the floor, will you please explain to everybody why reshuffling is so important? Why when we press play again and again and again on the same session, we never see any of the images in the same order. We never see the words next to the same photographs again. Why is that?
Kim, that's such a thing that I love about positive prime. Not only the other things we've mentioned, but I can be a fidget and I can be restless. I take a walk and never want to go the same way exactly twice. When I watch a positive prime session, because of shuffling, no two images appear in the exact same order next to the exact same statements anytime. So each time you call up the exact same session, you're actually witnessing and experiencing something that's a little bit different. And that helps your mind to create different connections to those statements and to those images than you would if they were all appearing all the time in the exact same way. So your brain is in this plastic way, and it is malleable and it is movable. And because we shuffle, you can take full advantage of that neuroplasticity that is naturally you and naturally the way your brain works to make every session new, fresh, different, and a new experience for yourself. There's nothing else like that. That's completely different. It's very, very cool and clever.
I love your answer, Patty, and absolutely yes. Yes, 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 yes. Viewing the same positive prime session as many times as you would like means that you have a totally unique experience every single time. And it does bring about emotional contagion, and it does actually bring about associative conditioning. They're two very important concepts in the work that we do. What it means, though, is you become more resourceful, more creative. What it means, though, is that you can actually reach for more inspired, solutions-orientated thinking. And that's really, really key. Yes, Patty's right. When you see photographs of yourself, it actually improves engagement in the context, and your identity is then wrapped around the messages. So if you've never seen yourself as someone really gifted and talented and special and unique, when you see photographs of yourself in Patty's session, you start to actually accept that new identity. Hey, wow, what world do you create for yourself when you truly feel like you have exceptional skills and talents and gifts to offer to the world? What happens when you become really aware of your experiences and your expertise and that which you have to offer? You literally, by being you, being the best version of yourself, you change the world. You connect with others. You start to think about, how is it that I am like a jigsaw puzzle piece? And who else do I need to collaborate with? Who else do I need to connect with in order to make sure that my one and your one coming together equals 3 or more, right? Yeah. So I will tell you, the brain, from a neuroscience perspective, needs novelty. You must have novelty if you want to accelerate transformation. It's fundamental. And it's been scientifically proven. And so inside the positive prime experience, we've built that in so that you don't have to worry about, where am I getting that from in the world? You're getting it from a positive prime session inside 3 or 15 minutes a day. This brain training is incredible for what it will do to make you actually be naturally much more oriented towards coming up with elegant options for yourself whenever you feel stuck. We actually hear that over and over and over again. So maybe you don't already know, we have thousands and thousands of people who use positive prime, and we actually consult with lots of people constantly, consistently, and we hear similar stories. And one of them is people actually just find themselves more resilient in respect of being able to cope with unfamiliar and uncharted territory, where they're actually not off balance anymore, and they don't feel like they're stuck by their old ideas about how they might approach something new. I go like, hallelujah, amazing. Alrighty, so I haven't seen any questions. I haven't seen any like hands raised. I hope that this has been worth it for you to show up. What I am going to say before we stop, we have a challenge that's happening, and I would love to encourage you to dive into the challenge. So bear with me, I'm going to get you the link. If you're not already seeing the posts that come up in this particular group, let me put it here in the chat for you, and we'll go here and I'll show you. It's the Positive Prime Premium Members Group, the Positive Prime Premium Members Group. And Christine Tiley, one of our great leaders, is actually leading a 30-day challenge. She's a delightful, very calm and confident, beautiful, kind, considerate, gentle, inspiring woman. But she also has gone the extra miles to really understand the latest and greatest that's happening in the fields of positive psychology and neuroscience. And she integrates that into the way that she's teaching you more about positive prime, more about the sessions, and more about how to make the most of it. So if you're not yet here in this group and you aren't yet participating in this 30-day challenge, I would suggest that you come on over here and that you follow it. You definitely write a little message to her. Let's get you involved. Let's help you to transform in a much more elegant way so that the changes that you're making are enduring, you can sustain them, you're really proud of yourself, and you've enjoyed the journey. Yeah? Woo! Maybe I'll see you here next week. I hope that's been worthwhile.
Kim, I got a real quick question. I'm a little confused on the time. I watched the sessions on 3 minutes. because I'm always running. But then when I see like the little arrow that goes up and slowing down and ×1, I'm like, I'm not connecting all of that.
Okay, perfect. We have variable speed for a couple of different reasons. When you're on speed 1, it's going slowly. For those of us in our community who are a little more A-type and a little more conditioned into wanting to control things, and we're a little more inquisitive, sometimes we need to watch it on speed 1 just so we get the measure of it. Now, if you're going to watch it on speed 1 or 2, it's going to take you about 60 minutes. If you've got 60 minutes, I would watch the entire thing. But what if you've only got 15 minutes? Well, I would actually watch it on speed 1 for the 15 minutes and then just abort it, close the tab, log out, go back to the dashboard, end the session experience for yourself. On speed 1, if you say out loud some of the affirmations, some of the self-fulfilling prophecies, mantras that you see, like, let's just say you see, I am loving. A lot of people actually watch their positive prime sessions whilst they're on the treadmill or whilst they're jumping on a rebounder, right? And so when you see that, I want you to say out loud, I am loving. And I want you to say it with some power and some enthusiasm and make yourself all jazzed. You hearing yourself saying some of the things, it's going to override and help you to change that automatic critical self-talk that you may have actually had for a long time. If you don't have naturally supportive things going on inside your head, if you're always thinking, oh, why do I do that? Then I would suggest that you watch it on slower speeds and you say the actual statements out loud. However, what I would encourage you to do is to watch that session again on maximum speed. So instead of setting it to number 3, then to your point, Edwina, what I would do is I would press play and then the increasing speed, I want you to listen to your soul. I want you to feel your spirit's reaction to the speed at which it's flying past. And when you get to that sweet emotional experience that allows you to be engaged in the evocative nature of it, know that that's what you need in that moment. Some of us actually need on this spectrum of I'm feeling really restless or I'm so completely about to fall asleep. Sometimes, depending upon what's going on in our lives, we actually need a faster speed or a slower speed. So I would speed it up or slow it down, and I would listen to your own little messages inside your body. Sometimes I can watch 7 sessions on maximum speed, which means they're less than 3 minutes each, as if my internet speed will allow me. And sometimes I can't. I'm way too wound up. There are too many obstacles and challenges in my world. I'm actually, in overwhelm. And in that case, I need to just sit there, relax, and enjoy a positive prime session and know that every single time my beautiful little eyes see those smiles, that messages are being sent to my endocrine system, and I'm actually in this process where I'm hormonally changing and I'm getting to be brighter and better, right?
I think I have it.
Play with it, and guess what? We'll address that next week. Maybe I'll have Patty come back here as well next week, and maybe she can also help to give you another perspective. We'll get her on to the stage as well.
I'll read the chat.
Okay, awesome. Have the most awesome week, and I'll speak to you really soon, and hopefully you'll get to see lots of other messages and guidance in that 30-day challenge within our special Facebook group. Come join us. All righty.
All righty. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Ciao.